Lacrosse Legends. Lacrosse Legends, a comprehensive look at America's greatest game, featuring legends past, present, and future.
Today, on Lacrosse Legends, we visit with Army West Point's Jack Emmer head men's lacrosse coach, Joe Alberici.
The United States Military Academy at West Point, the oldest of the 5 American service academies that educates cadets for commissioning into the United States Army. Black Knights lacrosse team is led by the Jack Emmer head men's lacrosse coach, Joe Alberici. Lacrosse Legends visited Coach Alberici in his office at Mikey Field.
The job back in 2005. I'd done a little bit of study on it. I was becoming the 6th head coach since 1929. 4 of my 5 predecessors were in the Lacrosse Hall of Fame. I knew that it was some big shoes to fill. Right from the very beginning, I knew I wasn't going to live up to all of that. I just wanted to be myself, be the best one I could be for our guys. Carried that on through these 18 years, going into the 19th year. Jack Emmer, Dick Udell, Al Pisano, Jim Adams, Morris Touchstone. They were some of the very best that this game has ever had in terms of coaches. So I have never used that as a measuring stick for me. I just wanted to be the best I could be for our guys.
What is the secret to your success?
Good players. No, it's I go back to Coach Adams, who'd won 4 national championships here, and funny story. I was speaking to all the coaches that were living at the time within my first week or 2. I asked Coach Adams, who had had tremendous success here, I said, "Coach, what's the secret to winning at West Point?" He was well into his 80s at the time. He laughed. He says, "Well, if you can recruit a Cafaro, you're going to be in good place." It does come down to having the right people. I've been blessed with a lot of talented players here, but what I would tell you that has sustained us is really our culture. The type of young men and the way that the selflessness, the way that they buy in, believe in our culture has been one of the trademarks to our consistency throughout the year. Being unrelenting towards excellence, being a man for others, and being accountable are 3 of our pillars of our culture, and we use that as our measuring stick. How are we doing up against that culture? And we feel like if we're doing a great job there, then the wins will take care of themselves.
You mentioned recruiting. What is your message to the high school student who may be considering West Point?
Most of my guys in the locker room are guys that never gave real consideration to serving. So there's a lot of education that goes into it. The window is really lacrosse. Of course, they've had an opportunity to see us play, might identify with that. They want to play at the highest level in lacrosse. So that's kind of the window that we walk in, step into. And then from there, it's about educating them about the type of education that they would receive here. I know this is a really biased opinion, but this is the greatest school in the world. There is no other institution that can do more for a young person than this place, and helping them to evolve into their greatest potential. So we talk a lot about the school, and then what typically is most foreign to our guys is the serving and the aspects of that, helping to define for them what an officer actually does in the Army, the opportunities that you can have within the Army, the different things. And yes, you are getting to serve, you're receiving that opportunity. It's not something you have to, it's something that you get to. I truly believe that in terms of the way your opportunities in the Army further develop you as a person. Those leadership opportunities, the places that you get to see, those things serve our young men for a lifetime. So they're serving their country, but they're getting something back in return. That's the framework that I approach it. What they know best, which is lacrosse. And then most of them have a sense of what the academy can do in terms of for their futures. And then the Army piece is typically what our guys put their arms around last. But what I will tell you is they go out to be some of the very best officers this country has. So they might arrive at it a little bit later, but what it takes to be a great officer, we think we're offering right in our program. The ideas of discipline, attention to detail, taking care of your people, being selfless, being a man for others, those are things that are emphasized in our program, and it's usually what our guys are taking to their units, their platoons, and espousing the same tenets that we have in our culture here. What you have coming out of West Point, or anybody who's going into the Army, is you have 17 different branches in the Army. So 17 different types of jobs that you could do. Our guys will have a choice of what job they would like to do. They get to list their preferences 1 through 17, and the majority of our guys, when I say it's an overwhelming majority, about 95% of our guys are getting their first choice. Upon graduation, then they go to what's called BOLA school. What it is it's officer basic school, and they get on-job training. If they choose field artillery, they'll go out to Oklahoma, and for about 4 to 6 months, they'll learn how to be an officer in the field artillery. And then from there, then they'll go in and join their unit, wherever that may be, across the country or even international.
Next on Lacrosse Legends. You're watching Lacrosse Legends.
The Army keeps the pride and dream of every home away. The Army line you'll ever find the terror in the way. And when the team is fighting for the flag we raise, we're always there with song and cheer, and this is the tale we're told. The Army team, rock, 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 boom, on brave old Army team, on to the fray, fight on to victory, for that's the fearless Army way.
Coach, it seems that a lot of attention is given now to the travel teams in lacrosse as opposed to the high school team. What's your opinion on the pay-for-play situation this country is facing?
It's a tricky area to negotiate, because on one sense of it, the pay-for-play, the opportunities that young men and young women, depending upon the sport, get to develop their skills. In a club situation, an opportunity to play at the highest level. What's really incredible in the sport of lacrosse is the number of guys who know people who are outside their area. It used to be you knew the guys in your town, and if you knew one other person from a town over, then everybody looked at you, how do you know that guy? Here, guys cross states, cross country, there's a connection because they've competed against each other, or in some cases have been on the same all-star team or on the same club. In terms of being able to find players and find talent, the club becomes one of the main vehicles for that to happen, because it's happening in the summertime when our seasons are over. So now we've got the opportunity to see them play. Where in high school lacrosse, it's running at the same time our season is. So it's difficult to see the players. Now, in favor of high school, you get some of the very best men and women who have profound effects on high school players' lives, because they're dealing with them day in and day out. They might be their history teacher in the 8th period, and then they go out and they play lacrosse for them. Some of the folks that have affected me and affected so many other young men and women are those high school teachers. So the fact that they tend to get a little removed from the recruiting process doesn't sit great with me. We try to reach out to the high school coaches for just character. What type of person is it? Is this kid a guy that's winning all the sprints? What's he like with his teammates? Those are the sort of things that the high school coaches can answer for us, maybe a little bit better than the club coaches who only get to know them a weekend 4 or 5 times a year.
It's very demanding on the student athlete between the regimen, the education, and now athletics. How do they balance all three?
The institution does a great job of delineating the lines from academics to athletics to military leadership training. We don't have a great deal of access to our players up until 3 o'clock. That is academic time. In the summers, we don't have great access to our players for the most part, because that's where they're doing military training and they're doing leadership training during those portions of the summer month. But the trade-off is worth it, because at 3 o'clock, there are no classes. There is no military training for our guys. So we have them from 3 to 7. Where that really benefits the cadet athlete here is we have 40 different majors. They can major in any one of them, because there's never going to be a lab or a class that they really need that interferes with practice time. A lot of premier institutions, certain majors can be problematic. That's not the case here. We've got guys who are nuclear engineers and civil engineers and guys who are in foreign languages and economics. We've got guys in all the different majors that we have. There are some hard lines that we can't cross, which that works just fine for us, because I know at 3 o'clock I'm going to have all of our guys there, and we turn our attention to trying to be the best college lacrosse team in the country.
I could only imagine. I'd be looking forward to practice. I remember when I was a kid, how phys ed was my favorite sport. Imagine, yeah, I'd be like, I'm going to lacrosse practice. I could only imagine.
Well, we do talk about lacrosse, our time together, as being the very best part of the day, and it is, but I'd also tell you it's still the hardest part of the day. The way that we try to train and practice is we want to work so hard that the game day is easy. It is the best part of the day because they get the opportunity to be together, and there's something to be said about doing hard things with people you love. You can't forget it. It's a hard thing that they're doing. We take into account what their days are like and all. We know our opponents don't feel sorry for us, so we can't afford to feel sorry for ourselves. Nobody is over on the other side of the ball going, oh, geez, too bad for that Army team because they were up at 7:40 in a physics class. My day didn't start till noon. Nobody cares about that. We can't use that as an excuse, and we don't use it as an excuse. I tell our guys often, the reason why you get so many pats on the back when you go home and people are so proud of you, it's not because you're a Division I lacrosse player. It's because you're a Division I lacrosse player at the United States Military Academy, and that's different, and it's respected, and people understand that it's a challenge. When you came here, you signed up for the whole thing. We're not going to waste any time complaining about how maybe some other programs have it a little better or a little easier.
Next on Lacrosse Legends. You're watching Lacrosse Legends.
Coaching the student athlete changed your philosophy?
There are some ways that have changed in a real positive way. The skill level that we're getting at this level of Division I lacrosse is higher simply because they've played more lacrosse. We talked about it a little bit earlier around club. These guys are playing all the time leading up to here. They start at a younger age than most of us. I wouldn't call myself an old guy, but I didn't start playing lacrosse till 8th grade. It was the first opportunity that I could play, where these guys are playing since 2nd grade, and they have so many more opportunities. So they are coming to us a little more skilled. I would say also more knowledgeable about all the things on the periphery that make you a great player. Our guys are really invested in their diets. There's an acknowledgement and an understanding of the amount of sleep that you have to have, the preparation that goes into getting ready for a practice. Is I've watched that increase in my time here. Some of it is facility. We've got a wonderful facility here. Guys who are rolling out in the hot tub, in the cold tub right after practice. Those things are a little different, I would say, are improved. In terms of coaching guys, I think that there's a greater need to explain the why. Back in the day, before my time even, you just did it because the coach said to do it. There wasn't any conversation about that, and nobody was going to say anything to coach, even behind private closed doors. Now I think, at least I feel the need to explain, hey, this is why we're doing it. And the reason, not that our guys are going to challenge it if you don't give them the reason, but I think it's motivating. When they understand the why and how this is going to make the individual better, the collective better, they're more motivated. They're going to put more energy into what we're doing. So I would say that that's probably a bit different than it was 20, 25 years ago.
I didn't see all the details. I said, no, you're in the picture.
Wait, you're in there?
I said, he goes, yes, I put you in the picture.
Where are you? Number 19?
The man who says that.
So I said, well, now I have to buy one. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Great story. The guy that painted it actually went to West Point Prep School for years from Great.
And the tour art and
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah, look at that, the clouds. We got it all. George Sebowski. And then he's got.
Thank you. I would have totally missed that.
Now I have to remember who all these guys are.
Yeah.
You got MacArthur.
Yep.
You got Custer. You got Eisenhower. Ulysses Grant. Pershing.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again? Is it Eisenhower?
Now you're putting me on the spot here. Ulysses Grant, Eisenhower, MacArthur, Custer, Pershing. I'm assuming that's Westmoreland.
The alumni at West Point, is there a special connection between the alumni and the students?
Yeah, and I think that that's gotten stronger and stronger over the years. One of our tenets within our culture here is honor the tradition. Best way you honor the tradition is to try and build upon it. That has been a thrust in our program from the beginning, that kind of connection that I was trying to make for our guys, whether it was just via newsletters and when they were in town, getting them up in front of our guys and talking to our guys, letting them know what it was all about. I think that that was a very positive thing that had been going on for quite some time. But then over COVID, when some sports at other schools were being dropped, I felt like we had a need here for an endowment. Skipping a lot of the steps, where that led me to is with General Dahl, Kenny Dahl, class of 1982, captain of the team here, went on to be a 3-star general, was in the area and was looking to assist. I don't think he was looking to assist as much as I wanted him to assist, but he did. And he has really been a force multiplier in that quest to bring the alumni in. He's just been terrific, unrelenting. It has helped greatly in our endowment, which has a direct effect on our team. He's just approached it the right way. It hasn't been about dollars and cents. It's been about connection. He has really spurred a great deal of activity and put together the Army Lacrosse Association. So there's a formal network in addition to the majority of the networking prior was informal, that has really taken off in a lot of different directions and has helped reconnect the Army lacrosse fans.
When you look at your schedule, is there any team on that schedule you're like, oh, you're not looking forward to playing them?
Well, the most important game of the season for us is UMass, and that's because it's our first one. We really approach it that way. Every game has a real significance to our guys for a variety of reasons. We have a very challenging non-conference schedule that includes UMass, Rutgers, who was in the Final Four a couple of years ago, Syracuse, who's been a perennial power, and we've picked up University of North Carolina also. Those games, along with Mercer, who's got an up-and-coming program, those are significant because some of those names are synonymous with success in our sport. That's a big deal to our guys. Our pathway to getting more games together has been through the Patriot League. I would argue that men's lacrosse in the Patriot League it's the strongest sport that the Patriot League supports. In the last 10 years, 8 of the 9 teams have been ranked in the top 20 at one time or another. Loyola has gone to multiple Final Fours, a national champion in 2012. The Naval Academy has got a long, strong tradition and has been outstanding. Lehigh has been an NCAA tournament team and done some damage in there. Colgate, same thing. It's a great league. So each one of those games takes on a tremendous significance to us. In the end, I mean, if you boil it all down, the Naval Academy, the specialness of that game, you go from playing in front of 500 to 1,500 people to all of a sudden playing in front of 10 to 15,000 people. It takes on a new meaning because of how lasting the memories are of that game. They're all special. They're all special in their own way. I'd be lying to you if I said that the Naval Academy wasn't a little different.
What makes that rivalry so special? He sent me an email, and at the bottom, let's say best regards, it said beat Navy.
Yeah.
I said, wow, this is no joke.
We're really blessed to have a rival like that. All of the athletic programs are blessed to have that because when you have a rival like that, it's inspiring. It helps you to build. It helps you to get better in most cases. We're fortunate to have that, as I believe Navy's fortunate to have us. It's just a way of life here. The cadets, in the way they greet each other, beat Navy. 3-star general closes out his remarks, beat Navy. If you go into our weight room, you look at each one of the weights on the bottom of it, beat Navy. Everywhere you go, it's written on the top of buildings for everybody to see, beat Navy. It's written into the stands that surround the parade field. It's everywhere. It becomes a one-game season for you in how you do it because they're like minded institutions, and the fact that they'll all be together once they leave these places and working with one another. Everybody wants the bragging rights.
Will there be a special uniform you're wearing for that game?
No, there won't be a special uniform this year, but we'll have a special helmet for that game. So
Definitely keep an eye out for that. What are the expectations for the upcoming season, 2024?
This year's expectations are no different than any other year. I think when you are at the United States Military Academy, you're here at West Point and you're a lacrosse player, your goal should be to be a national champion. So that hasn't changed. We do return many more players than we did previous in terms of starters, but the expectations for us is to go out one by one and win them all. We'll see if we're capable of doing that. The greatest way for us to do that is by just becoming the best version of ourselves. So there's a real inward focus that I've been preaching to our guys in terms of just making sure that we're worried about what's being said in the locker room, what our energy level is each and every day, and not as concerned about what people on the outside have to say about us. The line that I used with them just yesterday, turn expectations into appreciation. Our guys are blessed to be here, to be at this institution, to be surrounded by 60 plus guys who are the very best that they'll ever be around. There'll never ever be another situation like they are in that locker room, around people who are all pulling in the same direction, guys that they would do anything for. There's just no organization like it. We're just trying to channel any expectations people on the outside have for us, channel those expectations into appreciation for the blessings of what we have here and what we have here together.
Well, Coach, continued success. Thank you very much for everything you've done, the game of lacrosse, everything you're doing, and more so, if you wouldn't mind passing this message to your team, thank you for defending our freedom, sir.
Yeah, I will do that. Thank you, and appreciate the coverage.
And we look forward to seeing you on the lacrosse field.
All right.
This is Monsanto Muzak for Lacrosse Legends.
Excellent seasons in the face-off circle to get it going.
Hail, alma mater dear, to us be ever near. Help us thy motto bear through all the years. Let duty be well performed, honor be ne'er untarned, country be ever ours.
Double team. Stays on his feet, scores! The angle, the shot, the score!
Guide us thine own right, and teach us by day, by night.
That shot, score!
To keep thine honor bright, for
Shot, he scores!
to fight, and when
Shot, he scores!
we depart from thee, serving on land or sea, loyal be last point to
Looking for a big blast, he scores! There goes high, scores!
And when our work is done, our course on earth is run.